and it'll be great.
I did share your post last night. I saw it this morning and I put that up.
If you haven't heard about HelloFresh, you're missing out. I've been using this meal service for years now, and it's
Good morning to my good doctors. That would be Dr. Lang and Dr. Lawrence Roybal. The first two up at the table today to learn about the Santa Fe Film Festival, SF3. It's a statewide treasure, and you're going to learn about it today because we've got the incredible NaNi with us this morning. Good morning, NaNi.
Good morning, Brian Colon. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
You betcha. You betcha. We've got a full show today, so we're going to get right to it. It is 9:01 this morning. I want to start out by welcoming you back to Cafecito con Colon. I'm thrilled you're here. To all my Cafecito colleagues, my Cafecito crew, my extrovert therapists, thank you for being my extrovert therapist each and every day. For over a year now here on Cafecito con Colon, we have got a great episode in store for you today. I am thrilled and honored to be able to shine a bright spotlight on what is an amazing New Mexico treasure, but in some ways a little bit of a hidden secret. So we are not going to let this be a secret anymore. We're going to make sure that people in all 33 counties of our beautiful land of enchantment, the Tierra del Encanto, the 47 star on that beautiful flag of the United States of America, everyone, 2.1 million New Mexicans know about the Santa Fe Film Festival because we got NaNi with us this morning. NaNi, good morning. You're looking great over there.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
You betcha. I love the velvet ropes and everything.
Yep. They're pretty handy when you want to do a red carpet event.
All right. Well, this is a red carpet Cafecito con Colon. We have got the stars with us today, and they are shining bright with NaNi. So, NaNi, thanks so much. I know that you are kind of a regular watcher and extrovert therapist for me. You come and hang out on Cafecito regularly, so you know the routine. We're going to do some links, and then I'm going to come right back to you. Is that all right?
That works great. Thank you.
Excellent. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you this morning. I hope you're having a beautiful Hump Day Wednesday on this 7th day of April. It's a beautiful day. We've had great weather this week. We had a little wind here in Albuquerque yesterday, but not as bad as the weather folks had predicted. So we got through it. And then this morning I did my walk at about 5 o'clock, and it's just beautiful. Just a beautiful morning, and had a great night last night. My wonderful friend, the best man at my wedding almost 25 years ago, he and his bride came into town from Arizona, and Larry Sheffield, many folks know Larry, and his wife Tara, and the four of us, Aleli and I, and Tara and Larry, had dinner last night, and we went to Artichoke Cafe, and Pat and Terry always do a good job. Their team are top shelf, and they were open for dinner. I think it was just their second night open for dinner last night. And they did a beautiful job. And then we stopped by the sawmill for a quick chocolate over there at Edora at the sawmill, took a quick spin around there, and I showed Larry that amazing project. He's staying, I got them a great room at the Chaco, Hotel Chaco, which is just one of our cherished places to stay in our hospitality and tourism sector here in New Mexico, which is so robust. Thanks to Heritage Hotels and Resorts for embracing our story and telling our story about our multicultural history here in the land of enchantment. And with Hotel Chaco, it is amazing. Adrian Perez, our president, and Jim Long, the founder and visionary of Heritage Hotels and Resorts. Just, it was a wonderful night last night. And so I want to thank Pat and Terry for making last night just a beautiful evening for Larry and Tara and Aleli and me. And then today starting out just in a beautiful way. So good to see everybody. Good to see you this morning, Sonny. You are a ray of sunshine. Dr. Joe McCaffrey coming at us from Condado San Miguel, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Rebecca, I know you are a leader in the film sector. So thank you for being with us, Ms. Stover. Alfonso Thompson. Alf, thank you for joining us this morning. Great to see you today. Hey, today I want to start out. Many of you who follow me on Facebook know that tonight is the beginning of Yom HaShoah, which is Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day in Israel and around the world. And so I got a couple links on my cover photo for you, but let me also put them in here. Yad Vashem, which is the World Holocaust Remembrance Center, which I've been to a couple times in Israel. Very, very powerful. Those of you that know me well know that I lost family in the Holocaust, and just something that obviously we want to never forget, right? And so on this Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Day, there are a couple opportunities for you to commemorate this day. Here is Yad Vashem's main landing page for the World Holocaust Remembrance Center. And then they are having their remembrance, and it's at night. Of course, it starts tonight officially, but in Israel, it's already going to be tonight in a couple hours. So at 11 o'clock this morning, 11 o'clock this morning, Yad Vashem will have its broad. Good morning, Dr. Gomez Chavez. Great to see you. There is the, and I'm going to try, I've got my conference today, which is why I wasn't here with you yesterday. But I'm going to try to actually live feed this to my page. If I can't, just log into yadvashem.org. It'll live broadcast at that link I just put up, that ceremony from Israel. And then this evening, and this one for sure I'll be at, and I'm not sure if I'll broadcast or just share the link, but here is the link. Our New Mexico Jewish Federation will be hosting a commemoration this evening at 7 o'clock for Yom HaShoah. So on this Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day 2021, you got a couple opportunities to take a few minutes and reflect upon the atrocities as well as the heroes with our martyrs from the Holocaust. So check that out. Yad Vashem will have survivors. I think even tonight, our Jewish Federation, we still have a few survivors that I've been honored to meet and get to know over the years. And then the last and final link on that note of Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day for the Holocaust, I want to put up something very exciting. As you know, I'm a huge supporter of the New Mexico Holocaust Museum. We will be having our 5th annual L'Chaim event, or To Life event. It's their annual fundraiser, and it is going to be on Sunday the 18th at 7 p.m. And this supports the museum and its educational outreach program. Lely and I have raised tens of thousands of dollars to support this event, but this is kind of exciting. So they were so gracious, the museum was, and their board of directors, I think it was under Victor Regosa's leadership. I was very humbled because they gave me the inaugural Upstander Award for those who stand up against hate and intolerance and stand with the museum. And I received that inaugural To Life Award, or the Upstander of the Year Award. And this year they asked me to present the award to this year's recipient on April 18th. And I will tell you, this year's recipient of the Upstander Award is none other than our U.S. Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. So it's going to be a really beautiful, beautiful evening, and I hope you'll join me. And if you do buy tickets to this year's event, we want you to RSVP by the 11th. If you do this, you will also be able to get a Cafecito con Colon mug. I'm using my Mom's Demand Action mug today, but I do have for you a Cafecito con Colon mug. If you do check this out, this is I'll share this page here. This is our To Life, our L'Chaim event. It's the New Mexico Holocaust Museum's 5th annual event. Please consider purchasing a ticket. Help me honor United States Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. She was just on the ground. She was on New Mexico soil this week, folks. She met with tribal leaders from all over the land of enchantment, from our pueblos and tribes. She was just here yesterday. In fact, I'm going to share the link to the coverage on the front page of the Journal, I think. And We'll have a poem tribute by Hakeem Bellamy. We'll have a performance by Robert Mirabal. And for those of you that don't know, Robert Mirabal is one of our most amazing musicians from our indigenous population here in New Mexico. He's world renowned. He's a flute player. He's played a lot at Heritage Hotels and Resorts for concerts. And then we'll have another event by a jazz soloist, Mr. Pope. And then Grammy and MacArthur Award winner Giddens of Cry No More will also perform. So it's going to be a great night of music and an ability to really honor our Congresswoman, who is now the United States Secretary of Interior, the very first indigenous person to hold a cabinet level position as secretary. So we're very proud of her, and the Honorable Deb Haaland is our recipient of this year's Upstander Award. So enough about that, and let me just put the link so you can get ready to RSVP for that. And make sure you just let me know. You let me know you bought a ticket. I'll put your Cafecito con Colon mug right outside on the no contact gratitude bench at Casa Colon. So you can come by my house, come by the gratitude bench and pick up your Cafecito con Colon mug. Thanks to Jonathan Muniz. Jonathan Muniz is a birthday boy this week. So happy birthday again to my brother, Jonathan Muniz, for that. So RSVP for the Holocaust Museum's the Chaim event, the To Life event. So let me get to a couple more. We're doing good on time. It's 9/11. Minneapolis, this is the AP story. Minneapolis officers line up to reject Chauvin's actions in the murder of George Floyd, as has the chief of police and everyone else in this testimony. This trial is unbelievable. There's some expert testimony from a use of force trainer who says, obviously, well, what appears to be obvious to me, the restraint on Floyd's neck was not taught by the police, and this trainer testified as much. So there's a couple of stories there, NPR, AP, etc. And then finally, if you want to watch the Chauvin trial, you're welcome to watch that live. It is live streaming. Here's the KRQE link to the trial. So check that out. All right, so then to good news, New Mexico is still crushing it with vaccinations. There is the AP story that obviously President Biden has moved up all these deadlines and goals, and just amazing what we've been able to do in the last few months regarding turning vaccines into vaccinations. But we're looking at making sure that that all happens. All adults should be eligible by April 19th for the vaccine. In New Mexico, we should be ahead of schedule, even as it relates to the new deadline set by the president. In terms of coronavirus, we've got 5 states that are hot spots. Get a load of this. 5 states out of 50 account for 43% of new coronavirus cases over the last week, according to Johns Hopkins. New York, Michigan, Florida, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey had 196,000 of the 453,000 cases in America. Those states, a couple big states, right? So you go, well, Brian, there's a lot of people there. You're exactly right. But those populations are just 22% of the United States population, and they account for 43% of the cases in the last week. So check that out. Yay for Derek. I love that kid. I never get to see him, Dr. Gomez Chavez, but you give Derek my very best regards. Remind him that I'm in his corner. I've told him that since he was little, and I'm still in his corner. Speaking of young leaders who I'm in their corner, Derek, he's a great golfer, great guy, fantastic personality, $1 million smile. But let me just tell you, and I haven't disclosed the name because it's up to him to announce it to the world, and I want him to be able to share it with people as he deems fit. But I will just tell you, one of my cherished and beloved mentees called me yesterday. I missed his call at 5:30. He sent me a text at 8:30, and I called him right away. He called so that I could be one of the first people to know that he was accepted into Harvard. And Stanford, I think, shamed Harvard into doing this, but it's basically, it's essentially a full ride. I mean, unbelievable. This great young man of color got into Harvard, $80,000 a year. A very small portion of that, we're talking about, 2% of that will be cost borne by his family, and basically a full ride to Harvard. I'm so proud of you, Mijito. You know who you are. My heart is so full for you. And I posted that on Facebook late last night. It's already got like 400 or 500 interactions on there, 500 likes or something. People are celebrating with you all over America, my friend, and I couldn't be more proud. It is an honor to pour into you and to be in your corner. So congratulations to my mentee who got into Harvard. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Let's see here. Here's a fun one. I would love this. I'm not a huge Jeopardy fan, but I am Alex Trebek fan. I just appreciated the grace in which he shared his journey with us and inspired us during his final years. But I have followed a little bit of who's going to take over. Alex, oh my goodness, it's 9:15. I got to get to NaNi. Here I come, NaNi. Don't go away.
I love Alex Trebek.
You love Alex Trebek?
Alex, yes, big fan.
Awesome. Well, thank you, NaNi, for being so gracious. So let me just say, I'm also a LeVar Burton fan. And there's this Twitter thing going crazy. A couple 100,000 people had posted, let's bring LeVar Burton to be the new host of Jeopardy. And I just think he'd be outstanding. He's in his mid 60s or so. And, you know, a lot of folks know him from Star Trek. I knew him from way before that. And here's the New York Post story about LeVar Burton possibly becoming the new host of Jeopardy. So check that out. LeVar said he'd do it. And it's just great. So check out that story there. And finally, the last one. Oh man, I didn't get to the, okay, here I come, I promise. Let me get to my local. I just want to give a quick shout out to the always controversial, but incredible civil rights activist, Congressman Hastings, passed away at 84. Again, like Alex Trebek, had pancreatic cancer, I believe. This guy, what a journey. Read this story on NPR. They do a very fair job of not just talking about his incredible impact in a positive way, but he had a very controversial journey. I mean, impeached by the United States Senate, got bumped from the bench. He was appointed, I think, by President Carter originally, and then got bumped from the bench. Then he ran for Congress and he won for Congress. I think he served in his district for 30 years as a congressperson, but he passed away out of Florida. Check out that story. And then the two local stories, and then I'm done. Two quick local stories I wanted to put up are, number one, of course, the story about our cabinet secretary, Deb Haaland, coming to New Mexico to do her outreach. And there's some beautiful, beautiful quotes from our Native American leaders of New Mexico. And then this last one, people have been calling me and say, what's the schedule for bill signings? There is no published schedule, but you can know that the governor's gonna sign the regular session bills before the special session bills. So those of you waiting for the cannabis legislation to be signed, there's the information on that. So there you go. Those are my links of the day. I'm running about a minute and a half late. I apologize for that, but let me get to NaNi. Let me just, before I bring her to camera, this woman is a force to be reckoned with, and she's done a great job really lifting up the entire film sector for the better part of 15 years. She is probably about to enter her Sweet 16 in terms of impact in the film sector of New Mexico. She's a graduate from the College of Santa Fe. She is amazing. She's got a bachelor's degree in film. She's got an associate's in media arts from the Santa Fe Community College. A beautiful, beautiful story, her educational journey about making a difference and not giving up, going through community college, then getting into Santa Fe, College of Santa Fe, and then just really making a difference. She's used her skill set here in New Mexico's film industry. That's where she's been so impactful. I've originally met her in the political landscape. She's been a champion for people she believes in. She's been a champion for the film union. I've got my IATSE 480 jacket in my closet that I wear often. I've worn it on Cafecito con Colón before, but she's done great work with IATSE over the years. Pro-worker legislation advocate. She ran Garson Studios as a coordinator. She's the founder of the New Mexico Film and Television Hall of Fame. How do you like that? Like, talk about somebody who's been ahead of her times, who knew how important this sector was going to be to the balance sheet of the land of enchantment. She was out there in front. She founded the Santa Fe Film Commission. She sits on the Northern Area Labor Workforce Development Board and is the director of Shoot New Mexico, which is a marketing collaborative. Let me just say her newest pursuits are promoting film in Sierra County as chair of the Sierra County Film Advisory Board, and through the El Cortez movie theater while expanding the Santa Fe Film Festival to all 33 counties of our land of enchantment. NaNi Rivera is the director of the nonprofit Friends of New Mexico Film. So I got to make sure and make my donation there, Nani. If you can put, I didn't know that until I did a little bit of research about your work. And I don't know if they've got a website. We want to give some, I want to personally give some support to the Friends of New Mexico Film. She is really what I want to say, you know, she's too young to remember this, but on the old phones, you used to be able to have like a Fave 5. Like she is part of the Fave 5 of the film industry of New Mexico. Let me just say, Alicia Keys has got her on speed dial for economic development in New Mexico. She is one of the original Friends of New Mexico Film and the sector. So we're just so pleased to be able to host her today. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, my extrovert therapist, my Cafecito crew, give a big round of applause to NaNi Rivera.
Oh, thank you so much, Brian. That's such a sweet introduction. I've got to say, I'm such a big fan of New Mexico, and I'm such a big fan of film. And what you've been doing through this year with Cafecito con Colon has been such a breath of fresh air, not just to me, but to so many people. There's so much disarray in this world. There's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of cruelty, and there's a lot of pain. And the only way to get out of that is to focus on the good things and pursue towards those. And that's what I've been seeing you do. And it's just quite an honor just to be here and be part of what you're trying to do as well. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you are most welcome. Those are super kind words. We're about to have a few hundred episodes of Cafecito con Colon. We'll keep going 6 days a week for this week and next probably. And then we're taking our foot off the gas pedal because I've got some things coming up with our office and our audit rule training and things like that are just, I've got to start readjusting, getting my office back in person, hopefully in the next few months, and duty calls. And every hour is precious and as difficult as it is to transition, because this has really been my lifeline, my daily ability to shine a spotlight on excellence in New Mexico, to lift up New Mexico, has been what's kept me in a very positive headspace during a very painful time of having family members who have COVID, who have had many loved ones who I've had to say goodbye to virtually, and just the pain in the world, and people who are in financial dire straits. And we've been able to talk about so many positive things that have been a result of COVID-19, whether it's families coming together, whether it's us seeing community come together with like Brian's Angels working with, our Mask Up New Mexico crew, created, nearly 50,000 masks for free, or Chisholm Trail RV and Rosella Aaron Chisholm, Team Chisholm and Brian's Angels being able to deliver thousands of care packages to New Mexicans. We've just seen so many beautiful acts of kindness over the last year. I think we're all more compassionate as a world. We realize the world is not as big as we used to think it is. I didn't say that correctly, but you know what I mean. And so thank you for saying that, because I do think that we have to embrace that positivity in order to get where we need to be. And I know we're going to get through this together.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So NaNi, let's talk film. Let me just, I want to, the lens we look through is so important, and maybe it's because I'm four-eyed that I always talk about the lens I look through, and our journey informs our passion points. And your passion point is so deeply promoting and lifting up the New Mexico film sector and all that is associated with it. And you've done an amazing job doing that. And you've been doing it for, like I said, you're about to have your Sweet 16 coming up. We just had your quinceañera, and now we're going to have your Sweet 16. But tell us a little bit about, I know you were you raised in Santa Fe? That's the part I couldn't figure out.
Well, partially. I was born in Mexico, and I grew up partly in Mexico, partly in South Florida, where my other sister was born, and partly here in New Mexico, where my other sister was born. So we're really from all three areas, but right now the whole family is here, pretty much. Actually, one of my sisters just moved to LA because she works in the film industry too, and she got a big job, and so, but she's still technically here.
Well, good for her. Good for her. So So you're absolutely New Mexican, but I know what the oxygen in your blood cells is produced by the love you have for the New Mexico film sector. And like I said, you were ahead of the times. You know, when I was talking about the film industry, I remember, you know, campaigning in 2009 for the film industry and standing with IATSE and the importance of that sector to our economic development portfolio, so to speak. And you've been at it ever since then. I mean, you've just been a stalwart before it became the cool kid thing to do. Now it's the cool kid thing to do is to say, yeah, I stand with film in New Mexico. But tell us a little bit about how that all started and the journey that took you, and obviously your sister too, because she's a big player now in the film sector. Tell us a little bit about your journey and what led you to this incredible passion point that is so singular, but absolutely for our collective benefit.
Well, I've always loved art in every nature. And when I found myself as a single mother, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with my life. I wasn't actually even planning to go to college. I thought I'd work in the tourism industry, which is what I was doing for a while, but I found myself unexpected with a child that I had to raise by myself. So I decided to go to school, and by the time I was halfway through community college in media arts, I was sure I wanted to go to the College of Santa Fe. I saw that it had a movie studio, and I wanted to work in film. It sounded very fascinated to me. So I decided to make my way to the College of Santa Fe and somehow make it through that door between the school and the studio and find my way into this industry. So I did, and actually it worked out. I worked in the school, and after I graduated, I ran Garson Studios for a while. But we also all worked on film as much as we can as crew, or making our own films. I made some of my own shorts, but there was a couple of things that were always resulted in prosperity for me, and that was two events every year. And that was the Film and Media Day, which the Film Union put on, and that was the Santa Fe Film Festival, which I really didn't even know what a film festival was when I went to it, but my friend told me I had to go and gave me a pass, and I was like, okay. And at first it looked like just a bunch of parties, but there was famous people, and all my friends from film school were there, and it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it as a fun thing to do. But what came out of that is I got jobs. So I'd always get a job every time I go to it. I recognize it as a very valuable networking tool for my own personal career. And so I was naturally drawn to it, and I wanted to help with it. And I started being a volunteer as a screener, and then a photographer, and eventually worked my way up to being office manager, and then managing director, and then festival director, and then executive director. And eventually I just became chair, so that way I can kind of run it. And it gave me an opportunity to actually highlight other artists, which I found to be one of my favorite things to do in life. I love making art, but I really love people a lot. And celebrating great artists has always just been something that I really enjoy, because I get to enjoy that experience of working with amazing artists. And when I was in film school, one of my professors, Brent Cleaver, who actually was really instrumental in my belief system as going into the film industry, he would talk about different people in life and all the films that have happened throughout history. But one of the things he said is that for true artists to really create work that makes a difference and impacts society is that they get investors that just give them the money, give them the resources, and leave them alone and let them do their job. I'm not wealthy. In fact, I put myself through school on welfare, and I lived in public housing. It was definitely not what I have to give, but I did learn to be clever, and am creative, and I have been able to find ways to get resources or to convince people to give money to artists. And because of that, I've been able to keep the festival going through what it's been doing for really 40 years. I've been able
Let's
to
talk about that. Let's talk about, I mean, I actually didn't know until I got prepared for today that it's longevity and how long it had been around. And that's kind of sad for me because I like to think that I'm pretty well informed about the different sectors and in particular the film sector, but this hadn't been on my radar until the last several years, or radar screen, I should say. And I want to say thanks to everybody for dropping by, getting some beautiful comments in the chat there. And I want to say thanks to Dick for actually getting me to focus and getting you on today, NaNi. But let's talk about.
And happy birthday, Dick.
Oh, happy birthday, Dick. You and Jonathan share a birthday week. Well, it's good to be able to celebrate your birthday with you, Dick. Happy birthday, buddy. I wonder if you could kind of help us understand. I mean, this one here, almost 40 years, but help us understand kind of what's the importance and how do film festivals really feed the sector, and what does that mean to New Mexico to have, Wes Studi and all the New Mexico regulars, I should say. I don't know why Wes is on my mind. Oh, I know why. Because I just saw on Twitter that he was named like one of the 25 or 100 most influential actors of all time or something. And he always comes to town. I mean, that guy, you even find him walking around Santa Fe and eating on the plaza and stopping at the bar over at the Hotel St. Francis right off the plaza. I mean, that guy's, it seems like he's always around. Anyway, go ahead. Tell us about what's the importance of a film festival and how does it really drive the sector?
Well, film, like I said, is it's another art form. It encompasses actually all art forms into one moving image art. But a filmmaker will spend years making a film, maybe even decades sometimes, and it puts a lot of work into creating a story. And stories have inspired, they've educated, they've motivated, they've been very influential in time throughout the beginning of history. When a filmmaker gets accepted to a film festival, just getting accepted, it validates that filmmaker. When after all this work that a filmmaker's done, it's got a calling card for what it's done. It's starting to create a body of content as a film artist, and it'll end up on the website, it'll end up in their print, it'll end up, and the more film festivals that you can have, especially if it's a high caliber film festival, and a lot of that has to do with age. You can tell a film festival by how long it's been around, how valuable it is. But that's one of the things that we're able to give to people. But any film festival is able to give that if they accept a filmmaker. It gives them validation. They get their laurels. Also, if a filmmaker wins an award, which is even better, then they're an award-winning filmmaker. And once you're an award-winning filmmaker, you're always going to be an award-winning filmmaker for the rest of your life. It's on your resume, it's on your portfolio. And what happens when you become an award winner? Your paycheck goes up, you get more job opportunities. I mean, it improves an artist's way of life and gives them more opportunity to tell more stories, which is really important for our society. Another thing that it gets is it gets reviews and feedback. It gets critics to comment on it. So if your film is in a film festival, you're able to see what might need to be adjusted or what worked well or what didn't work well, just sitting in a theater with a live audience. Or today, it might be seeing somebody's comment on Facebook, or the many different ways that people can give some feedback. That's really important for filmmakers. And ultimately, they want to find distribution. And right now, that's a quickly changing market that's been happening over the past decade, but that's ultimately what a film festival is supposed to do.
That's amazing. And then how I guess one of the things I'm wondering about is, we hear about Cannes, we hear about Sundance, but there are just hundreds of film festivals. But I gotta believe that, I know we even have a Los Alamos Film Festival and Santa Fe. When you say Santa Fe anywhere, I mean, on several continents, people are going to know they know something about Santa Fe. They know there's something special there, right? And so So how have we been able to leverage that for the benefit of the state in terms of getting that kind of prominence that the film, because I assume that the film producers, the people who make these, um, they have to almost jury in, right? And so how do they know that, or how have we leveraged New Mexico's landscape in the film sector for the benefit of the festival? Because now we have both, right? Like you were ahead of the film festival was ahead of the industry in terms of New Mexico being the place to make a film.
Yeah. Well, I personally didn't start the film fest. It actually started when I was about 1 year old. But in the 80s, it was started by Bill and Stella Pence, and they were the founders of Taos Talking Pictures. So technically, we are older than Sundance Film Festival. Um, but um, but but they started it, and they worked with people like Francis Ford Coppola, Charlton Heston, Sam Peckinpah, Lillian Gish. I don't know if you know who that is, but that is one. I studied her when I was in film school. I couldn't believe that I was connected to somebody that was such a big icon to me. But New Mexico may not know about the Santa Fe Film Festival as much as the world does. We have so many films that are coming in already. We're not even a month into our submissions, and we have films coming in from all around the world. Filmmakers will spend up to $90 or more. That's our maximum price to submit a film from around the world, just for us to consider their film, to maybe even decide whether or not we want to put it in the festival. We're definitely a marker on the world. Santa Fe is a destination point. So the word Santa Fe in itself, and then the reputation that the film festival has had over these past decades, is definitely known around the world. Now, when I took over the film festival a while ago, my personal aspiration was highlighting New Mexico. So I balanced celebrating world cinema, but most of my time and everything that I poured into always was highlighting New Mexico, incorporating New Mexico into celebrating with the filmmakers of the world. And it was very, very New Mexico focused. So most people may not know me as the Santa Fe Film Festival person, but they may know me as somebody who is working on campaigns, or at the Roundhouse with the union, or the unions, should I say, or the many other, or working on film set as a crew, or Garson Studios. But the Santa Fe Film Festival has been a champion for New Mexico film for the past almost decade. And so since then, there have been many other film festivals that have risen up around the state, and there's around the world. And the state has a lot of incredible other national film festivals. And to be quite honest, I don't just encourage people to support or get involved with the Santa Fe Film Festival. I encourage people to support and get involved with as many film festivals as you can. They are really important and vital to a community. And it doesn't matter if there's more than one in the city. Santa Fe has about a dozen film festivals right now alone. And throughout the year, every time a film festival comes out, I do everything I can to support it there and around the state. So one of the ways that people, to answer your question, how can people become more involved or become more aware of the Santa Fe Film Festival, is basically our online presence is, I think people, what they really need to do is come and follow us on Facebook and see what is happening on our website. We're actually now moving into new era as we speak. And although I am still always going to be a champion of New Mexico film and New Mexico filmmakers, we're really starting to look and focus on youth as being the strength and the guiding light. And I think that's really what's going to bring us into the next era.
So in that regard, because all of our viewers, we're all about pouring into the next generation. And so, I mean, let me just speak for me. It's one of my passion points. And so I wonder, with that idea in mind, have you got some collaborations, and how do you provide connectivity between things like C&M, who's trying to pull some things together, UNM, our educational institutions, the new studios, the fact that Netflix is now firmly planted in New Mexico? How some of those collaborations looked?
Well, I have reached out to Netflix for support, and I reached out a little too late. So they said to get a hold of them next year, and I'm going to reach out again and hope that they work with us. As for the other entities, I've I have worked with so many different organizations through the festival. What we did a few years ago is we created Film Week, and I moved it to February from December. So that way more people can be involved. The legislatures have supported us over the years with grants, and a lot of times they can't come for whatever reason around the year, but during the legislature, they're there. And if it's near Film and Media Day, the union's going to bring their own wave of people to also be around there in that area. So it's a good time to talk about film and celebrate and highlight what's going on. So with Film Week, what we've done is we've invited other organizations to also implement their own programs. Obviously, this year we didn't do this. We didn't have an in-person event, but what we've been doing is we've got the Santa Fe Film Festival, then we also have the New Mexico Film and Television Hall of Fame ceremony, and then the State Film Office has been doing their Educator Summit with us. They've done that for a few years, and we worked with an organization called New Mexico Girls Make Movies, the New Mexico Film Foundation, and they would do
Well, what can you
workshops.
tell us? What can you tell us about the New Mexico Girls Make Movies? That sounds awesome. Because I saw something about I know you particularly have been focusing on the youth. Like you've got this teen horror thing, and I think I actually tuned into something on that challenge a bit ago. And so I know you're doing that. But tell us about that girls make movies thing.
Oh my gosh, it's a wonderful organization. They collect support. They pick a bunch of young high school girls and they mentor them and help them make films. And really, that's what you've got to do. We've got a lot of great schools in the state of New Mexico. We've got a lot of great programs. But really, to get New Mexicans working on movie sets is you've got to give them that job. After the training, after all the opportunity and everything, you've got to get these people on set and you've got to get them the resources, whether it's giving the production company some money to bring them in, or whether it's providing resources for the student to be able to be there. Whatever it is, what you want to do is you want to get them actually hands-on making films, hands-on working on films, and just get in there. And that's really the way to start your career. You bring your expertise to set, and then you learn and adapt to the culture of a movie set. And what they're doing is they're launching careers, which is
I
great.
love that. Launching careers in the film sector right here in the land of enchantment.
For
Tell
young
us about,
women.
for young women, absolutely. And we lift them up, and that was a reminder. I was going to start my show today. Let's not forget that this is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So I know that I've got my patio in teal, lit up in teal. So we're turning the town teal as we bring awareness and shine a spotlight on sexual assault this month, to make sure that we're lifting up those populations, those in our population who've been victims, and taking them from victims to survivors to becoming those who thrive again in our community as they are on the other side of the horrible acts of sexual assault. So yes, let's lift up those young girls. I brought my guest on today. This is Negrito. I don't know that I've ever had him on Cafecito, but I'm feeling a little nostalgic because Negrito's in his final days. He doesn't have much time left with us. He's been with the Colon family for about 18 years, and he's really slowing down. And I'm not sure. I think we've just got probably weeks with him left, and he just came in here this morning to say good morning to me, and so I don't think I've ever had him as a guest. So good morning.
Well, it's an honor, Negrito. Oh, so sweet.
He is a sweet boy. He grew up with Rafael, and Nestor Romero gifted this to Rafael for like his 5th birthday or for Christmas, and now Rafael's 23, so he's been with us for the journey. The Teen Horror Challenge. Tell us about that, because that's kind of cool.
Well, one of our films that we played in the film festival was called the Horror Crowd, and it's a documentary about the filmmakers of horror movies, and you will recognize many of them if you go and watch that documentary. So the filmmakers of that documentary decided to participate with us in an ongoing challenge, because one of the things that if you watch the documentary, you'll realize that there's a community of horror filmmakers. And a lot of the backstory of these filmmakers are that they felt like they were really not part of the community, or outcasts or oddballs, or just, not, they're doing their own thing. And when they started making horror films, they found like-minded people and they created a community. So if you go and you watch that movie, you'll notice there's a real close community of horror filmmakers. And just what they have found in making films, in pursuing their career, has just brought joy in their lives and meaning in their lives. And so what we are doing is we're encouraging young people, teens, to make horror shorts under 13 minutes and submit them to our film festival. You could go to Film Freeway, and it goes up until the end of September. Submissions for just that category alone are up until September. It's only for teenagers, but the judges of that are going to be the creators of the horror crowd, which is
Am I in the right? Am I in the right place? Is it Albuquerque Indie Film Festival? Is that the right? Filmfreeway.com?
Nope, it's Santa Fe Film Festival.
No, I posted that one, but is there a specific website for this teen horror challenge?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up and put that right in. I'm going to put that right in the link in your Facebook.
Chat. Oh, okay, great.
Right now.
Thank you. Because this sounds awesome. And I watched a couple of horror shorts that were done by some teens here in New Mexico, and actually we voted on them. And so I don't know if it was the exact same teen horror challenge, but it was pretty fun to think about the kids that were behind the camera on that, and the children that were in front of the camera, because the ones I watched actually all had child actors in them as well. They were all younger kids.
Well, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to. It's definitely going to be a fun thing for young people. Jeffrey Riddick, who's the director of Final Destination, and Ruben Pla, who's the director of the Horror Crowd, they're going to be the judges for this. So you've got some real horror filmmakers that are going to look at these submissions and pick a winner. And the winner's going to get $1,000 scholarship to where they want to go.
$1,000, baby. That sounds good to me.
Yep.
That is great. So so check that out. If you got a young creative, we want to make sure and direct them to that website for the Teen Horror Challenge, because that'll be a great opportunity for them to have a chance at winning $1,000. Anytime you can get a check with a comma in it, is a good day. So let's try and help get our students over there, lifting up arts in New Mexico, in particular the film sector. And the Santa Fe Film Festival understands that film is really the coming together of so many art forms, and it's just such a beautiful platform for education and for inspiring our next generation, our young people, and also at the same time lifting up a sector in our economy that has so much potential. And we continue to try and embrace that and celebrate it. And NaNi, tell us a couple of things maybe about that you've learned over the last 15 years that would be a surprise to folks that are tuning in today to Cafecito con Colon, that, those of us on the outside looking in, all you cool kids that are in the film sector, give us a couple of things that maybe would either be a shocker or maybe some fun trivia or something like that you could share with us. Oh, and you're branding SF3. So it's Santa Fe Film Festival. So it's SF3, right? I put a hashtag in there, SF3.
Yes, that is the millennial new term for Santa Fe Film Festival. It's designed by Arian Bird Williams. He's a visionary. He came in this year. I'll tell you a little interesting story. Most film festivals had to go virtual this year, as did we. And I was not expecting that COVID would have lasted this long and that I was going to have to go virtual. But the director of Afro Cinema, Brandon Brady, who is a promoter of Black performers and wants to lift Black voices, he came to me a couple weeks before the festival, introduced me to this young man, Arian Bird Williams, and they made a pitch to me on putting on a show. at the festival for the awards ceremony. And I thought, oh my gosh, no, there's no way we can do that. But they said, yes, I think we really can. And they convinced me to let them put on the show. And it actually turned out to be really great. So I've been working with them more. And Arion has a background with youth, not a film background, but he's an artist. He's a basketball player, a star basketball player, and he works with youth programs and develops youth programs. So he's been working with me on bringing in more youth and making the transition to the next era. And that was his genius idea. So got to give credit.
Got to give the credit, and the film sector is good at giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
And thanks to all our legislators who have leaned in to help support that sector. We are grateful for that. Who, let's see, for NaNi Rivera, who's been at this for, she's about to have her Sweet 16. Who have you been with that all of a sudden you went, I can't believe that I'm getting the opportunity to not just meet, but actually interact with maybe somebody from the big screen. And we put up, I put the link to Lillian Gish. She was big in the film sector right about the time New Mexico was becoming a state. We were she was big. I think her first big film was in 1916 or early 1900s, right about the time we were becoming a state. So I put that link in there. So I know you've studied her, and that was pretty exciting, the connection you have with the work you do now. But tell us about that interaction. Like, I remember meeting some folks and being starstruck. And who makes NaNi Rivera starstruck?
Well, I think one time I was on set and I met Renee Zellweger, and I was such a big fan of hers. I really didn't know what to say, but she walked with me to the van and talked with me for the little 2.5-minute walk. And I just couldn't believe she was so nice and conversive. Because actors are usually into their own zone because they have to focus on the next shot. But she's a person that is insightful to the atmosphere around her, no matter what pressure she's under, and cares about how she affects other people in her environment. And that was just that was a pretty inspiring moment for me to see somebody behave like that. But yeah, I got to tell you, Peter Bogdanovich, when we gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award, that was pretty spectacular. That was an incredible time for me to be able to get to know him and get to know his daughter and some of his family that he brought with him. He's a force to be reckoned with, and that was pretty awe-inspiring. One of my favorite people that I've met that I really got to spend a lot of time with is Leon Vitali, who we also gave the Lifetime Achievement Award. And he has he has such a long history of working with film, and he's we inducted him a couple of years ago, but we also brought him back down to Truth or Consequences to our TRC Film Festival. And he's known for working with Stanley Kubrick. He was Stanley Kubrick's right-hand man. He was a star actor, and he saw Stanley Kubrick. He said, "You're a genius," gave up his entire career and decided, "I'm going to follow you and help you make your films." And sometimes he would be the only person that Kubrick would talk to. And to be able to spend days and days and days with him, deep conversations, was probably one of the most meaningful times of my life. And we talk, and he says he's going to come back to New Mexico some more. And I'm hoping he comes back and makes a movie here. I'm still begging him to. But those are some pretty incredible moments that I've had. And there's more, but that's what comes to mind to me right now.
I love it. Don't forget to tell him the next time you're begging him that the state auditor will also roll out the red carpet for him.
I will.
And absolutely, this is day 828 of awesome as your state auditor. And I will roll out that red carpet. We'll make him an honorary state auditor of New Mexico. We'll just do it right. We'll just do it right. Hey, so one of the great comments is that this film festival and some of the work you've done has really been a fantastic platform to lift up and promote and support Indigenous filmmakers and Indigenous artists with the festival. Can you speak to that a little bit as we're getting ready to land the plane? So I know that we've got a hard break at 10 today. And so I want to make sure that if I didn't give you an opportunity to shine a good spotlight on something that you wanted to talk about, but didn't because I talked too much, you have the last few minutes. But I did want to touch on the indigenous population piece and how you've centered them in the work you do.
We've been doing native cinema for several years. It was around actually before I came. That and Sisters of Cinema, which are programs that do an extra effort to elevate people of that community. One thing that's interesting that people may not know is in the state of New Mexico, and this may be hard to believe, but both Black and Indigenous people are really hard to find to put in as background or as talent in any capacity. And you would think that, especially with Indigenous, that there's so many tribes here that would be a real easy thing to do, but it's not. So what I think festivals need to do, and what everybody really needs to do, is lift up those voices, shed spotlights, give some extra awards, give some extra moments and honorariums, maybe put a show in your event that would highlight a great Indigenous performer, along, with all the other stuff that you're doing, but include some extra opportunities for these people, because what we need to do is really lift up that community of talent here in New Mexico, so that way we're not importing so many out-of-state jobs for things that people here can be doing, because they are here, they need to be trained, and they need to get that what I was talking about earlier about their calling card and creating a body of content, starting to get recognized as an artist, and validation of the things that they've created, that they've been part of. Create that body of work for them, so that way they get on the list to get more jobs in the film industry here. That's just so incredible.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for amplifying that message of providing even additional and more support, more incentives, honorariums, and more outreach. And really, what we know probably about that population is we know something's real in the political landscape. We know that if we want to encourage women to run for office, we have to ask multiple times. You ask a guy about running for office, and they step up a lot quicker, and they're more confident that that's an appropriate thing for consideration than when you ask a woman. A woman has to be asked a few times before she brings her expertise, her incredible capacity to the political landscape. We just know that, it's kind of known in politics, and that's why Emerge has been so helpful and important. And now why we have, the majority of our leaders in the House, they're all women, except for our speaker. We've got just phenomenal leadership on the fourth floor with our governor. Our members of Congress are a majority women. And it's just been a beautiful thing to be able to do that, because we were intentional about it. We have to be more intentional about reaching out and asking our Indigenous population, our men of color, our women of color, our African-American population, to say, yes, you have a place and a space here where we need to engage you, so that when young people of the next generation look up to the big screen, they see a reflection of themselves. And that's what I've been saying in politics for so long. And so, we're grateful for folks like Senator Harold Polk, the first African-American in our upper chamber. We're grateful for so many people from our diverse populations and those who have been marginalized for so long for saying yes. But we need to keep asking. We need to keep asking. So you did a beautiful job hitting that message home. So thank you for that. I'll give you the last word. Tomorrow, we're speaking of great Black leaders in our entrepreneurial community. We're going to have Quenisha on tomorrow of Q's Cakes. We're going to talk about her incredible journey. Q does a phenomenal job. She just baked me a fantastic first communion cake for the Paez family last weekend. It was awesome. And I love her to death. And she does a great job bringing up young people and engaging them and inspiring us by being just a great leader. And I love her to death, and I can't wait to host her tomorrow on Cafecito con Colon. It's right about 10 o'clock. I want to give the Santa Fe Film Festival engine, and that somebody who's been an advocate for over 15 years now for our film community, and the leader of the Santa Fe Film Festival, also known as SF3, hashtag NM Film, hashtag SF3, Take it away, Nani.
Thank you so much. If people want to get involved, we are looking for help with screening our films. We are accepting a couple more interns. In the summer, we will be looking for another board member or two. We always want donations, obviously. Every nonprofit always needs financial support. But one of the reasons I just want to emphasize on why the Santa Fe Film Festival or why SF3, I don't think a lot of people realize that, you know, I'm the only female that runs a major mainstream film festival in the state of New Mexico, and a person of color at that.
Wow.
And most of my staff were mostly women, were mostly people of color. And so we've been able to emphasize these things that are now popular, but we've been doing it for years, and we want to continue doing this. So we really encourage support to the things that we're doing, and to get involved and to follow us. And also, I want to thank the people who have supported us for all of these years. I know through the years that I've been there, the businesses in Santa Fe have been tremendously generous. The community, all the hours that they've spent donating and volunteering, and just the sponsors, and the filmmakers bringing their great films. We've had some pretty incredible people. So it's been a really strong entity, and I believe it's going to continue on for at least another 40 years. And that's because of the people that have been part of it throughout time. So I'm grateful and humbled and hopeful for the future.
I love it. Grateful, humbled, and hopeful. And that's what we bring you on Cafecito con Colon. Living every day with gratitude in service to others, and just making sure that we lift up New Mexico every day of the year. And you have been able to do that. NaNi Rivera, a trailblazer in film, a trailblazer in film festivals. She has broken the glass ceiling when it comes to film festivals, or as we like to say, if Patricia L. Chavez is listening, she's broken the adobe ceiling. And she is a woman in film festivals, the one and only woman of color in a major film festival right here in New Mexico, our land of enchantment, the Tierra del Encanto. And don't forget, Nani, we appreciate you, we value you, we lift you up, and we're always in your corner. So call on me anytime, Nani. We're right here anytime.
Thank you.
All right, make it a great day, folks. Reach out to folks in isolation. Tell them they're not alone. Tell them you met this incredible director of the Santa Fe Film Festival, SF3, NaNi Rivera. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow with Quenisha of Q's Cakes. She's going to be awesome. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.